Hello and welcome to Talk Good Games. Just finished Chelsea 1, West Ham United 1. I'm joined by Charlie and we're going to discuss the highlights. Not that there's loads of them, but we'll get through them and we'll talk about whether we think it's a good result or maybe it's 2 points dropped. But Charlie, there wasn't much to talk about in the first half. 13 minutes was our best chance of the game until they go, really. A long ball by Masuaku and Arnautovic brought it down. Are you surprised he didn't hit that first time, considering his volley against Southampton?
Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed, but then again, if it came off, he would have done it perfectly. He had an idea in his head what he wanted to do. It just, ball doesn't bounce exactly perfectly for you. Like, he could have hit it first time, but then that could have gone way over, and then you thought, why didn't you just take a touch? You had time.
35 minutes until Chelsea had their first decent chance. William got put through one-on-one and a decent save by Joe Hart. But just a minute later, Charlie, it was 1-0. And on this channel, I always say to Gonzo, show me a goal, I'll show you an header. Where's the header here?
So I think there's like 2 errors there, really. Well, 3 people, but 2 errors. Fernandez and Arnautovic are marking and let the runner go completely. He's just done an arc right around the corner. And instead of tracking that, Arnautovic has swung for it. It happens. Okay, fine. But me particularly, I wasn't impressed with how Cresswell was just standing there. He managed to get the touch and then a touch past Cresswell. Like, it wasn't enough pressure put in. Like, if he was in the general vicinity of that kind of strike, it would have hit his body straight on. It could have bobbled somewhere else, and then it would have just been some kind of trampy goal, which can happen. But there would have been an effort there. But for me, it wasn't enough. You weren't switched on after Joe Hart's just got you out of a very, very good situation. Like, they were in on goal, perfect. He did a great save, and we let him down. We let Joe Hart down there.
Yeah, the corner annoyed me actually, because I thought we were quite pedestrian a little bit throughout the first half, and Chelsea were probing without creating much. They had a goal disallowed, rightfully. It was correctly ruled out. But they were probing. There was a few warning signs coming, and we were holding our own quite well. The one time they got through, Joe Hart made a superb save. Then that corner comes. And the more you watch it, the more pissed off you get, because everybody's literally just standing around watching. Even when the ball gets played and they all realise the ball's being played, they're still just standing there. And the only person that really reacts is Morata when he makes the move to the back post, wins a header against 3 players. Then Azpilicueta just, he chips up and
gets in there.
Yeah, pokes it in. It's just this is why we're in a relegation battle this season, because of poor moments like this that define your season eventually. Poor defensive errors, and it's just lack of concentration. But we went in 1-0 at half-time, Charlie. What was your thoughts at half-time on the break?
So I usually sometimes I just zone out of some punditry at half-time, because sometimes I think that it kind of influences your perception of the game. Like, they have their opinions, you have yours. It's punditry, nothing's correct. But obviously Bilic was talking and I had to give it a listen. I shared the exact same views that he did when he was saying, basically, it's not an inspiring bench. There's Hernandez on there. There's no Lanzini. There's no Antonio. There's no one who can come on and you could just really do that. Stan corrected. There was someone, but I didn't see the goals. We were setting up defensively, pretty much playing with a back 5 as opposed to back 3, wing backs pushed back, which I appreciate. I appreciate a defensive game, and if you're tactically resilient and your formation strong, and which we were for the majority of the game, I give credit where credit's due. Just that one mistake led to a goal. But I didn't see any kind of way forward. Arnautovic was very, very isolated, where the midfield were staying in deep. We didn't have any kind of outlet to be able to push forward to Arnautovic and play off him, which works. So when Hernandez did come on later, you kind of saw where that synergy comes from in the team. But I shared Bilic's belief there. You saw in his eyes, it's just keep going. That's the only thing you do. You can't make these impact subs.
I think we were lucky it was only 1-0, truth be told. I think against a better team or against a Chelsea side on form, there was only 2 or 3 Chelsea players out there today that impressed me. I thought the rest of them were sort of half committed. And I think if Chelsea were at their top gear, I think that could have been 2-3-0 at half-time. I think we were lucky at 1-0. I was disappointed not to see any subs, but I'm not surprised. I'm used to this now. However, Chelsea had a goal disallowed just after the break. Again, rightfully so. They also went close a couple of times. But then this is this is the bit that really irks me. I know it's 1-1, and we'll get onto the positive stuff in a minute. But Cresswell goes down with an injury, Charlie.
Yeah.
He brings on Patrice Evra. You're 1-0 down. It's just is that a bit too negative for you, or do you think that at the time was the right call?
Before I give my opinion, what would you have done as a substitution?
I would have probably put Chiatti, if you had to play with 3 at the back, put Chiatti in there, put Fernandez into Chiatti's position and get Hernandez on. I would have got Hernandez on the pitch with that substitution. I would have done it, or gone 4-4-2, either or. There was 2 options there for him, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very astute observation. But for me, I didn't really have a problem with Evra coming on, because as an experienced player, you'd assume or you'd hope that he'd have some kind of resilience in the back line. Chiatti, for me, very unreliable, but I do like him in defence a lot more than I like him in midfield. But I thought that Fernandez was just struggling, so as soon as he could get off the pitch, for me, and you said it yourself during the game, that he got given an astute, a multitude of rules which he had to do, roles that he had to do, and that was probably too much for his skill capacity or what he could do as a player. I don't think it was particularly negative. It wasn't revelationary from Moyes, but what can you expect is not cutting edge of managerial decisions in games. But I thought that he didn't make the wrong decision, which I think is key, really. I didn't look at the sub and just shout at the screen, just saying what are you doing? Because I just could be better, but it's a B+ from me. It's all right. It was a fine sub.
Well, he made the sub we were all waiting for on the 69th minute, as Fernandez did go off and Hernandez did come on. Then we're seeing a little bit of a different West Ham since Arnautovic had a strike partner. It took just 3 minutes for Hernandez to be on the pitch to make an impact. And before Hernandez got that goal, West Ham in the 72 minutes had just 2 touches in Chelsea's box, both of them Arnautovic. Then they got 2 more in the 72nd minute. Charlie, free kick, poor header by Cahill. Arnautovic picked up, cut it back to Hernandez, and what a finish. I think he makes that finish, look a lot easier than it actually is.
2 things, though. I was just going to say, can we just take a moment to appreciate the cutback? Whether it was intentional or not, or he just wanted to get in the right area. It was pinpoint, and it was well weighted, and it was whether he had the vision or not, I'm not in his head, but that was absolutely bang on. And then the technique for Hernandez to curl that right round using the 2 players in front of him as a screen, where Courtois can't get it. It was the perfect goal, and it gave us momentum for the rest of the game until the last 5-10, where we were just shutting it off.
In the 87th minute, it was the last talking point in the game. Alonso had a shot before that tipped over by Joe Hart. Then in the 87th minute, Giroud's header got tipped onto the post by Hart. Charlie, let's talk about our keeper. He's been a lot of who should start and goal. Hart got it last week. He got a clean sheet, kept it this week. A few fans still a little bit unhappy about it. A few fans think it's the right call. To be honest, I've never seen such a debate split among the fans. It's almost 50-50, these 2 keepers. But today, Joe Hart proved that Moyes has made the right decision. 3 top saves. I
think he did. There are a few kind of factors to take into consideration. With obviously the World Cup, Joe Hart's got a point to prove. He's been in and out of a struggling team, where you'd be hoping that if you're getting a lot of shots taken at you, you could be keeping your team up there. This was the perfect club for Joe Hart to probably come to if he wasn't getting games at Man City, because he's not playing at a top club, and he'll be playing at a team which does leak some goals here and there and everywhere. And especially this season, this is exactly what he needed. He needed a chance to prove himself. And unfortunately, in this whole season, he hasn't. It's been relatively inconsistent. Some were his errors and some weren't. I think there was just chemistry issues here between the back line and the goalkeepers. But I don't think it's a criticism of Adrian, because before this week, I'd still say Adrian. But after that performance, that was England's #1 performance. That was absolutely fantastic. I could not fault anything. I said in the group chat, apart from that kick where he kicked off the pitch, he didn't make an error. Someone said that it was probably time wasting, but whether that is or not, I don't know. But he was. Oh, just some of those saves, my God, so acrobatic. It's so it wasn't. You know when some people dive and it's just like, oh, you could have just stood there and done it. It was like full on stretch onto the post, right down, using your leg over the bar. Every single thing that he did, he came up to the bar.
Yeah, there's 3 different saves as well, 3 big saves, but all completely different saves.
Yeah.
And that's what impressed me more. What I always think a top save is when you have to watch the replay again, see if the keeper actually touched it. And you had to do that twice today with Joe Hart. Twice you had to say, oh, did he get the touchdown? I went for a corner, but you had to think, did he actually get a finger to it? He was absolutely superb. And it wasn't for him, we would have got beat today. That's in my opinion. But Charlie, it finished 1-1. Were we lucky, or was that the right result?
I'd say, for me as a West Ham fan and someone who does appreciate a defensive setup, like a defensive style of play, given the type of players that we have, we don't have these flairful players. We can't play this style of football that we did when we had Payet, and we don't have Lanzini, and we don't have Antonio, so we can't be moving this kind of. We need to play to our strengths. I'd say that is 100% a point deserved. However, from a neutral perspective, I think that Chelsea will be feeling very hard done by. From a statistic point of view, how many touches they had on the box, how many shots they had on target, everything was pointing their way. Even the commentary was saying, "Oh, look at the touches that West Ham had in the box. I can assume that they're going to be the ones who are going to score next if anyone does." And that just goes to show, though, that if you don't put the ball in the back of the net when you have the chances, then they can go down the other end and score. And we did. And I'd say we were lucky to, in a sense. But if that goal was thoroughly deserved, the way we did it, the whole build-up play behind it, the assist, the finish, that was deserved. We deserved the goal, but we were probably lucky that we didn't concede more. But give credit to Joe Hart. He did everything right. So I'd say point deserved.
I think it's definitely a bit of both. I think it is a bit lucky, though. I think, like I said, if we played a better team or a better Chelsea today, I think we would have got beat. But I just feel a bit disappointed that we were up against a fragile Chelsea. Their season's over. They started today 11 points behind Spurs. They're not finishing in the Champions League. They're pretty much stuck in 5th. Their season's nearly over. They've got players that are probably got one eye on the World Cup. Hazard was running the show today, and nobody put a tackle in on him. As soon as after half an hour, you could see him running the show. He was dropping into that number 10 position. Nobody could get a hold of him. You were just waiting for someone to do that good old crunchy tackle, that Sunday League thing, let him know you're there. There was none of that, and I just thought it was a bit pedestrian at times. You say we deserved the goal. Well, maybe we did, but I thought it was a bit smash and grab, in all honesty. It was the first time we got near their box, and it was sort of relying on 2 people's individual brilliance. I get your point. We're missing a lot of players, and what Moyes has available isn't brilliant. But there's nothing, especially when you're 1-0 down, you've got a forced sub to make. That's where you should be. I always think a manager then gets an excuse. If he puts a striker on then and we get beat 3-0, someone said to him, "Why do you do that?" So we had to make a sub. It was forced on him. You get a free hand to play there, I think. And he just. I wouldn't even call it playing safe. David Moyes is someone I genuinely think he's one of these managers that considers a 1-0 defeat at Stamford Bridge to be a good result. And to some extremes it is, but not that Chelsea. I don't think Chelsea were that brilliant today. They could have scored 3 or 4, but this is one of the worst Chelsea sides we've seen in a long time. It's, certainly in the last 18 months under Conte anyway. But plenty of players though did impress though, Charlie. Would you like to pick out some players you'd like to praise? Don't give me a man of match, although I think we might pick the same players. Any individuals you'd like to mention and comment on their performance?
Well, I'll do it for both teams, to be honest, because I actually was impressed with a couple from Chelsea. Obviously, for West Ham, as a West Ham review, Ogbonna, for me, whole season, I've been impressed the whole season. Second, he's come back from that surgery. I've just thought he's been an absolute rock for this team. So important. Masuaku, I was disappointed with today. I thought he lost the ball one too many times. He had a couple of good balls into the box, which I think has been a part of his game which he's improved on. So I'm impressed on that aspect of the game, but keeping it a bit tighter on the passing and losing possession. Arnautovic, as per usual, gives it his everything. I thought he was isolated, but then the second that he got that chance, it's the effort. As a West Ham fan, you got to appreciate the effort. If someone is going to be doing their all for the team, that they're working for the badge. That's all you can ask for. And he has the talent as well. Second, we got that goal. You saw a different side of him as well. And it's just more towards what we want. Who else? Declan Rice. Sorry, should not have forgotten that. Declan Rice. I rate him so highly. Give him a couple of years. I'm so happy he's been bled into the shirt this season. Think it's so important for him. And long kick, like just young kid, and like got a powerful leg behind him, makes the right decisions, composed on the ball, good passing. It's obviously he's still young. He will make errors in the future, and he has done this season. But today, relatively solid. Could not really fault his position. I think he has a good understanding with Ogbonna as well. Cresswell disappoints me like, week after week, but I don't need to really go into that. And probably the last one, like Noble. I just thought he was a good captain today. Doesn't always have his games, has his moments, has his good games, has his bad games, as we all do. But I thought he had a good performance today. That's for that. And then for Chelsea, it was Willian and Conte for me. That was it. Just great.
I thought everyone played well. To be fair, I don't think there was anyone out there that was bad. I know Fernandez is getting a lot of stick on social media. I feel a bit sorry for him. 21 years of age. I think he had a lot of roles out there today. 1 minute he's up against Kante, the next he's up against Alonso. And I don't think either he wasn't very sure of his role or he had too many roles. It was one of the two. And I just felt felt he was putting the deep end a bit out there. I wouldn't say he was hung out to dry as Bruno and Brush, not that far, but he had a very difficult job out there today. I felt a bit sorry for him. The two players, though, I'm going to pick out to praise, that's not my man match, is you've mentioned him already. First one's Rice. He looks class. If you told me one of them, Italian defender, international captain stuff, it'd probably be Rice I'd be looking to pick out. The way he reached the game is just unbelievable. At one point, Morata was running at the defence and they were all backing off, and Rice just backed off enough, but then when he went in for the slide tackle, he timed it absolutely perfectly. The Morata went over and Rice had the ball at his feet and got up. Superb. And the other players, Martin O, but I thought he was brilliant in there. Yeah. He's tackling. At one point, I think they had a free kick or a corner. We were coming out of the box and he dribbled with it. He dribbled against 4 or 5 Chelsea players. Now, he's not the fastest bloke in the world and he knows that, but he uses his body well. So if a Chelsea player comes near him, bang, he's going down for a free kick. He knows how to win free kicks. And when you're playing at grounds like Stamford Bridge, that is crucial. It's priceless. His booking today, very, very clever. Hazard got in behind the midfield and was running that defence, so he just holds on to his shirt. He knows he's getting a yellow card for it. That's what we need to see more of. It's what they call game management these days. You want to call that. Take a booking, give away a free kick at the halfway line, attack's over, sorted, get your team back and go ahead again. But one last player I want to talk about, Cresswell. You've mentioned him there briefly. He's also getting a lot of stick. We've stuck up for Hernandez. Will you stick up for Cresswell as well? Or do you think that this is experiment over? He's not a centre-back. Get him out of the centre-back position.
I think for what we have with the squad selection today, I'd kept him on. He can do a job there. He's proven it. He's not bad. He's not a bad player. I just don't like how uncomfortable he seems to be when he's playing left back before, and even when he's moving into centre back. He doesn't seem like the old Cresswell, the Cresswell which won Hammer of the Season, the Cresswell prior to his injury, which took him out for quite a while. Since he's come back from that, just doesn't seem to really fancy the game that much. That's just my own personal opinion. I'll support and I'll stick up for him publicly as a West Ham fan, but I feel like he needs to improve a lot, because if we pick up if we have our strongest back three, so to speak, so like if I personally would have Ogbonna, Rice, Reed, could be Collins, anyone, they could move out. Cresswell will get nowhere near that defence for me. I don't feel like he offers the calm, composed, collected Cresswell, which could burst down the wing if we need to, but we don't want that as a centre-back anyway. When he's playing left-back, he doesn't do that. Masuaku does a much better job than that. The passing is okay, but seems to be a lot more long balls because that's what's needed. It's a shame because I used to think he was a brilliant player and he seems to have just faded. I don't know what it is. Motivation.
Brilliant. Right, collect your final thoughts and get your man of match in your head. But before I move on to that, all season we've been doing a charity bet with West Ham sponsors Betway. We pick 4 things to happen in a game. We're allowed to pick it 100%. We use social media, the forum, etc. This week we picked West Ham with a +2 handicap, i.e. we could lose by 1 goal at the most. West Ham to score a goal, under 4.5 cards, and both teams to get 4 corners or more. This came in. So £375 has been won and is going to charity. So a massive thank you to Betway for the £50 free bet that we do. Charlie, what's your final thoughts on the game? We've got a point at the end of the day. We should be positive. So what's your final thoughts and your man of match, please?
it's a point closer to the end of the season. We're going into our next game against Stoke, right?
Yeah.
That's got to be a different type of play, a different style of play. What we experienced against Southampton, that's exactly how we need to go into that game. I thought we went into a game which players have a lot more flair in the Chelsea setup, regardless of whether they're down. They have a much better quality of player than what we played against last week and what we will play next week. So I'm happy with the point. Not over the moon, but I'm happy. I can't ever say that I'm disappointed with it. I'm very, very chuffed that we didn't lose. That was the most important thing. And it was a resilient performance. Man of the match, Joe Hart for me.
Yeah, I think a point's brilliant. I thought we were going to get beat today. I would have bit your hand off for a point before this. Like you said, it's a point closer to Premier League status for next season. Come match day 38 when we play Everton at home, we could be 4 points away from the bottom three, and we can relax. We'll look back at this game and think, you know what, actually, that's the game where we did get the point. That's kept us up. It's a bit of a smash and grab, but how often have I watched a team do it to Arsenal and Man U, that they've turned up, defended for 90 minutes, got their point and got out, and we went, and I've sat here going, oh, why can't West Ham do that? So maybe this is where you go back to what Allardyce used to say, and that is respect the point. I will today, delighted with the point. I just think we were a bit lucky, but you need luck in football sometimes, and that's just something we have to accept. Hernandez come on, changed the game. I seen a different Arnautovic. When Hernandez came on the pitch, I seen a different Arnautovic. I thought he was looking a bit frustrated. I thought he was not disinterested. He was still trying. We could see him waving his arms at people, telling him to get up the pitch. As soon as Hernandez was on, he had his mojo. He was buzzing. He was a completely different player in that 20 minutes on average. But the problem was, 10 minutes after Hernandez came on, Arnautovic was knackered. So we couldn't see the full effect of Arnautovic and Hernandez. But anyway, it's a point. Brilliant point. My man of the match is the same as Charlie. Joe Hart, absolutely fantastic today. I didn't think I'd be saying that again this season, but there we go. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Comment in the section below. Let us know your thoughts, your man of the match. If you agree with me or Charlie or disagree, you can let us know. And subscribe to the channel if you're new. Me and Gonz will be back with a cup of tea this coming week, as well as a preview for the Stoke game. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.